Hello, a warm welcome to the most authoritative sporting channel. This is Med. Today's episode, Chris Eubank Jr. at the press conference of the Atabeta BFN Dimitri Bivol light heavyweight undisputed light heavyweight championship have called some UK promoters a scamper, i.e. Frank Warren, Frank Smith, Eddie Hearn, Cowley Sutherland. These guys are people who have worked with Chris Eubank Jr. before. And let's all take note that Chris Eubank Jr. has circulated around a lot of promoters. He has even gone to America to be promoted by the PBC and did not get the due fight he needed. I think Chris Eubank Jr. is a two-faced individual. I think Chris Eubank Jr. is a scumbag, and he calling the promoters a scumbag is just an irony or hypocrisy from someone I think of as a scumbag. Why do I think Chris Eubank Jr. is a scumbag? But first, let's take a look at what Chris Eubank Jr. stands for. Chris Eubank Jr. comes from a family of boxing heritage. That is, his father is a former world champion and is a legend of the game. He may have known all the tricks in boxing and have warned Chris Eubank Jr. about signing that Frank Warren contract. But Chris Eubank Jr. did not listen. When he smelled pepper, he came back crying foul. That is the type of person Chris Eubank is. Then Chris Eubank Jr. was working with Eddie Hearn. There were so many fights that were giving him. He did not take those fights and came back and crying foul. Chris Eubank Jr. stated that Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith knew that Conor Benn had failed a drug test. Yes, Conor Benn had failed a drug test, but Chris Eubank Jr. wanted that fight to proceed if they would pay him an extra £1 million. Yeah, if they were willing to pay him an extra £1 million, Chris Eubank Jr. was ready to step into the ring. So is that not double standards? Is that not hypocrisy? Is that not an act of a scumbag? If you were willing to step into the ring after you have found out that Conor Benn had failed a drug test, and you were still willing to step into the ring and today call out others for being aware and not telling you about wanting you to fight, I think that is a mark of a hypocrite. And I'm going to call Chris Eubank at that. Chris Eubank Jr. is the same person who dogged Gennady Golovkin after Karl Brook had taken the Gennady Golovkin fight, ended out calling out Gennady Golovkin. Whilst the fight was presented to him, he rejected the fight. Then after Karl Brook had accepted the fight, competed the fight, and was beaten by Triple G, Chris Eubank Jr. came out calling out Gennady Golovkin. Chris Eubank Jr. years ago dogged Saul Canelo Alvarez. Then, about 8 months later, called out Saul Canelo Alvarez. Chris Eubank Jr. went to the PBC. That time, Chris Eubank Jr. was going to the PBC. Jamal Charlo was on top form. He was a world champion. Chris Eubank Jr. never called him out, never got a world title fight till his contract expired. Chris Eubank Jr. is a two-faced individual and a hypocrite and a scumbag himself. He has been robbing boxing fans of big fight opportunity, yet goes on the next minute to call out those same people he has dogged. That is an act of a scumbag. I am not protecting or defending the promoters. The promoters can be dodgy. In boxing, contracts are like music industry contracts. You'd have some clauses inside in which, if you're a novice, you may not understand head on. You need an expert to explain it to you. So with Chris Eubank Jr.'s heritage, why didn't he get a lawyer to oversee all his contracts? Why didn't he do that? I think that Chris Eubank Jr. is not being fair to the fans. He is just saying that in order to gain attention for himself, as he has been seeking. He is someone who seeks attention but does not walk the responsibility of the attention he demands. So that is why I call Chris Eubank Jr. a two-faced scumbag. He is a scumbag himself, and he is calling out other scumbags. I don't think that promoters are clean. I don't for 1 second believe that promoters are clean like a whistle, but you are what you are calling them out for a scumbag. So I think it's about time Chris Eubank Jr. revisits his thoughts and all opportunity he has missed, he tried to grab them at this stage of their career. I have seen that he has come out to apologize after His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh had called them into the office. Let's say a governor has called his lieutenant into an office to put them into check. But one thing about Chris Eubank Jr. is that if he doesn't perform creditably in this fight, he should know that he won't be able to fight on a Riyadh season card, as he would be hugely sabotaged by the promoters whom he has called out. This is my take. Thank you for watching. If you agree with me, let me know in the comment section. If you disagree too, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.